Hi, my name's Glenn. I'm just doing a quick demo of the cloud site for Group 1 of the Globex project. First of all, I will do a quick ping demonstration of the VPN. So if I do a ping of 192.168.52.210, we have success, and over here this is a Windows server. Notice the public IP that I've got to hit it on. This is a Windows server, but I'm hitting the local IP. Over here we have a local IP for my Linux server hosted in AWS, and if I ping that from the Windows side, it also gets through the VPN nicely. And last but not least, if I do an IPsec status all, we can see that both VPNs are up, so happy days there. Okay, now DNS. What I'll do just to prove DNS is a quick dig on a slave zone on a remote server. So this is that Albury DC that I just pinged, and this is a zone for which it is a slave. So there we go, that all works, and that's just to prove that DNS queries across a VPN work, and also that the zone transfers across to that particular host work. So I'll just do the inverse of that with this nslookup command. So there we go, as you can see we've queried the cloud and we've received an alburyglobex.com address, so zone transfers have worked to the cloud, and a DNS query has worked to the cloud from Albury. Now web server wise, I can navigate to the intranet Globex page and it loads a PHP fine. Notice I went to the HTTP address, but it redirected me as per design. I'll also just quickly show, actually before I show monitoring, I'll just quickly show MySQL. So this again proves that PHP is working and the Apache web server. What I'll do to prove that we can actually make changes to MySQL is drop the demo database here. So I'm just going to drop database ITC308 demo. That's worked, and the database is gone, so happy days there. Now one last thing I want to show quickly before I do NTP is Nagios. So we use Nagios Core with the CheckMK plugin. CheckMK can do agent-based and SNMP-based checks. So we do SNMP-based checks on systems that can't have agents installed, like routers. So this is a Cisco router that we've done an SNMP check on. You can see software versions and everything. So you can see stats have been updated 40 seconds ago and so on. We also do agent-based checks for this domain controller, for example. We can log scrape and get interface stats and a few other things, so it's all good stuff. One last thing I'd just quickly like to show before I close off the video is the NTP sync. So you can see here that we've got 7.7 seconds of offset. So if I go and have a look at time, I'm at 10:14, say 30. If I do a date there, we're at 22, and that lines up with a roughly 7.7 second delay. So this server is configured to point to the cloud for NTP. So hopefully that's demonstrated the VPN, the web server, DNS, MySQL, monitoring, and NTP. Thanks.
My name is Ben, and I'll be giving a demonstration on the Wagga side of the project delivery. Here we see on the right hand side in Notepad we have our demonstration items listed. We'll start off with Hyper-V. To show this, we'll log into the host machine. The domain controller itself is a virtual machine which resides on this host machine and is configured within Hyper-V. Here we have the virtual machine, and these are the settings. We'll now return back to the domain controller and take a look at the VPN. Here we have the IP addresses of the local server. We'll now run a ping to the Albury server. followed by a ping to the cloud server. To show this traffic is being sent across the VPN securely, we will take a look at the router and check the IPsec status. Here we have the phase 1 of the IPsec status, showing the public IP addresses between the 3 sites. Here we have the phase 2 of the IPsec between Wagga and Albury, where packets are being sent securely without any errors. Here we have the IP subnets between Wagga and the cloud, where packets are also being sent securely without any errors. Next up, we will confirm that DNS is working. Here we can see the 3 zones that are configured for Albury, Cloud and Wagga. To prove this is working, we will ping host names on those 3 sites. So we run a ping to the intranet on the cloud server, the Albury domain controller host name, the Wagga router host name, and google.com to confirm that external DNS is working. Next up, we'll take a look at Active Directory. Here we can see that users have been created. Under the organizational unit, we have groups where the users have been assigned to. If we take a look at one particular user, we can see here that we have a setting enforcement where they must change their password upon next logon. We will take a look at this in the following slides to prove this works. Before we do that, we'll have a look at group policy. Here we can see under the same organizational unit we have a group policy object whereby password complexity requirements must be met. We now prove that as well. To do this, we will log on to the workstation on site, where we will be prompted to change our password and have it met by the password complexity requirements that the group policy has defined. So our first password attempt has failed. The next password attempt will meet the complexity requirements and should be successful, thus proving that group policy is being enforced as configured. There we go. Our workstation has now been logged on and is part of the Wagga domain as shown. We have also been assigned an IP address of 192.168.51.10. If we go back to the server and check the DHCP role, under the correct scope we can see the address lease as identified, and we can see our IP address there, current. This proves that DHCP is working. We now take a look at file shares. Under the accounts folder we can see a folder and a file listed. If we go over to the workstation, we should also see this file and folder under the same folder. There they are. If we delete the file and create a new folder, we should see these changes take effect on the server side as well. These changes are successful. That completes the demonstration, proving that Hyper-V, VPN, DNS, Active Directory, Group Policy, Workstation, DHCP and file shares are all working. The Albury server is now shown. As the server roles are very similar to the Wagga server, individual demonstrations will not be performed, but a quick overview will be given. We'll start with some basic ping tests. We can see the local IP here. We are now pinging out to the Wagga domain controller hostname, google.com, the intranet at the cloud server, and the workstation located in Albury. This confirms VPN and DNS working. We can also see Active Directory, DHCP, DNS, and share folders as displayed. This concludes the demonstration of the progress update of the network rollout. Thank you.